You know, we hear this word government all the time, right? It's on the news, it comes up at home, it's tied to pretty much everything, from how much your groceries cost to your commute to work. But what does it actually mean? Let's really get into it and break it down. So, what is government, really? When you picture it, what do you see? Is it just one person like a president? Or maybe a big fancy building with columns and flags? Or is it something bigger, an idea, a huge system of rules and people? It's actually a trickier question than you'd think, mainly because the government seems to have its hands in, well, pretty much everything.
I mean, just take a look at these headlines. It's kind of wild, right? One day, the government's setting the price of onions. The next, it's totally overhauling the coal industry or figuring out a plan for major floods. It decides which villages need aid because of scarcity, and even how many judges should be on the Supreme Court. It is literally everywhere, tackling this massive range of stuff that impacts all of us every single day.
All right, so to get a handle on all this, we're going to look at four main things. First step, what is government? Then we'll see how it works on different levels. After that, we'll compare democracy and monarchy to see who's really in charge. And to wrap it up, we'll talk about the power that you hold in your vote. Okay, let's dive right in with the big one. What is a government? And maybe more importantly, why do we even have one? So, at its most basic level, a government is simply the group of people who have the official power to make decisions and get things done for a country. Their main job? To look after the well-being of all the citizens. And it's not just a single person calling all the shots. It's a whole big network of people and organizations all working together. And man, their to-do list is huge. We're talking about building roads and schools, trying to keep prices for things like those onions from going crazy, and protecting the country's borders. Plus, they run essential stuff like the post office and the trains. And on top of all that, they create programs to help out people who are struggling. They're pretty much the ones keeping the whole country ticking. But that leads to a pretty fair question, doesn't it? Why do we need this big organization to do all this? I mean, why can't we all just manage things on our own? Well, just think about it for a second. Imagine a world with zero rules that apply to everyone. It would be total chaos, right? A real jungle Raj where the strongest just dominate everyone else. The government's number one job really is to stop that from happening. It creates order, makes sure laws are followed, and protects all of us so we can live our lives without constant fear. Okay, so keeping things from being chaotic is one thing, but doing that for a country with millions, or in some cases over 1 billion people, that is a massive, massive challenge. How on earth does one government manage a place that's so huge and so diverse? The short answer is they break it down. They work on different levels. Think about it. A huge country like India, you just can't run the whole thing from one office in one city. It'd be impossible. To actually get anything done, the government has to be set up to handle everything from the biggest national issues down to, say, garbage collection on your street. So this usually breaks down into 3 main levels. You've got the national level at the very top. That's the one dealing with the big picture, stuff that affects the entire country. Then you have the state level, which handles things for a whole state, like Haryana or Assam. And then closest to all of us is the local level. They're the ones managing your specific town, village, or city. It's all about tackling problems at the right scale. All right, so we've got a government that makes rules and works on different levels. That makes sense. But this brings us to probably the most important question of all. Where does it get the power to do any of this? Now, really, think about it. Who gives them the right to tell you what to do? Who gives them the power to build a highway or set prices or, and this is a big one, declare war? The answer to that question is what defines what kind of government you're living under. And it really boils down to 2 totally different ideas. In a democracy, the power comes from, well, us, the people. We vote for our leaders, and because of that, the government has to answer to us. They have to explain what they're doing. But in a monarchy, it's the king or queen who holds all the power. And they usually get it just by being born into the right family. They don't have to explain their decisions to anyone. That one word, accountability, that's the huge difference. So in a democracy, like in India, that means the ultimate power is in the hands of the people. And the main way we use that power, the way we keep the government in check, is through voting. The core concept of democracy is rule by the people. But obviously, it's not practical to get millions of us together to vote on every single law. So what we have is a representative democracy. We elect people, representatives, to go and make those decisions and laws for us, on our behalf.
But here's something we should never forget. This right to vote, the idea that every adult gets a say, it wasn't just handed over. It was fought for. All across the globe, people, especially women and the poor, had to put up a huge, long, and often difficult fight just to get the right to have a voice in their own government.
Just look at the women's suffrage movement. It's an incredible example. During World War I, women stepped up and did all the jobs that were typically considered men's work, proving they were just as capable. But could they vote? Nope. So they fought back. They protested. We're talking about women chaining themselves to railings, going on hunger strikes in prison, all for the right to vote. And eventually their courage paid off. American women got the vote in 1920, and women in the UK got it on the same terms as men in 1928. And this fundamental idea that every single person deserves a voice was championed by leaders like Mahatma Gandhi. He wrote back in 1931, and this is so powerful. He said he just couldn't bear the idea that a man with money gets a vote, but a man who has character but no money or education gets nothing. For him, it was about who you are as a person, not what you have. And in the end, that's the principle that won out. Today, right here in India, every single citizen who is 18 or older has the right to vote. It doesn't matter how much money you have, what your gender is, your religion, or how much schooling you've had. And that right exists because of all those struggles for equality that came before. So this all brings us back around to one last and maybe the most important question. We've seen how in a democracy, the government is supposed to be of the people, by the people, and for the people. So if the power really is with us, what's our role? What's our responsibility in all of this? That's the real question, isn't it?